You know, it's not every day that I can say this, but my gosh, Bandai listened to the fans. Now, after countless years of people getting the Tamagotchi P1 and P2 releases and asking Bandai, hey, do you have any plans on doing the same thing, but better, with the Tamagotchi Connection series from the early and mid-2000s? Now, a lot of the time, Bandai just gives, or the PR person or the social media person will always respond with keep your eyes peeled or no information yet, mainly something along the lines of keep your eyes peeled though, which I always take with a grain of salt because that's kind of their knee-jerk reaction to asking them about anything, which has been my understanding. However, I want to say about a year ago, they started to be a little bit more positive with the keep your eyes peeled, and I still took it with a grain of salt because, one, the social media person might not know, two, it's just kind of nicer than saying, no, this will never happen. However, with the Tamagotchi Uni release, people were asking for an off button, and the social media response was always, just wait till the battery dies. And then we actually did get an off button, or an off functionality. So the social media, whatever they say, take with a grain of salt, typically. However, we now know that in July 2024, we're actually getting the Tamagotchi Connection, not just a re-release, but a revamp. Now, it is a same model or similar look to the original version 3 Tamagotchi Connection. Also, the Keitai is the Japanese equivalent. So basically, the Tamagotchi with the small little antenna there and with a little ball chain instead of the nice clip which the original of the Tamagotchi Connection version 3 had. Now, this is super exciting. It's another worldwide release. Japanese shells do have a few other shell models than the English releases, but I want to support the local release in Australia. This video, before I start recommending things, is not sponsored by anyone. These are just my recommendations. So you can get them from, in Australia, The Gamesman. In the US, so far from what I've seen, Amazon. I would expect any toy store to probably stock them, but at the moment that's all I've seen, as of recording this at least. And in Japan, there's no links yet. There will be a pop-up store in Tokyo, I believe, but as of recording this, there are no Japanese pre-order links, and again, not sponsored by anyone, but I would expect them to probably pop up on HobbyLink Japan and Army, just going by previous releases. Again, not sponsored, those are just places that I would check out. So the Tamagotchi Connection is a revamp, not a re-release like the P1 and P2, which is something I'm pretty happy about. It will have more characters and more items than the original one. The main thing that we don't really know yet is whether or not there'll be a Tamatown or Tamatown equivalent. We do know that there will be a password system, but that's to get items from. But we don't know if it's going to actually have a Tamatown as of recording this. Now, if you didn't play with the original Tamagotchi Connection, you might be wondering what a Tamatown is. And it was kind of like this web-based Java game where you would put a code from your Tamagotchi and that code would be kind of like all the data it needs to know exactly what your Tamagotchi character is, and then you put that code in Tamatown on the web browser, and then when you were done playing the games and getting gotcha points, you would enter another password from the computer onto the Tamagotchi Connection, which would transfer your Tamagotchi character back, and with any items and gotcha points you got from the web version. Obviously, it's not around anymore, which is a shame. It means that there's a lot of missing functionality from the original Tamagotchi Connection, version 3, 4, 5, 6, and the Tamago, which is sort of like the version 7, I suppose. But there's no news if the revamped Tamagotchis will have a Tamatown equivalent or something like that. A big part of me hopes that there will because of nostalgia. However, a small part of me is like, what will happen in another 10 years when the servers go down and we again have something with less functionality because of a missing feature that is no longer around. So that's something, but again, I kind of hope just for nostalgia's sake. But so far, this seems like a pretty exciting release. The fact that it's a revamp is great. It means that any issues that people had with the Tamagotchi Connection may not be around for the revamp, but it is still called a re-release, and I'll probably be using re-release and revamps kind of interchangeably, but it's not going to be like the Tamagotchi P1 and P2 re-releases, which I'm not fond of, and I've gone over why I'm not fond of them, but they feel worse than the original. And presumably it won't be the case with the new Tamagotchi revamp. So I just thought I'd make a quick video about this. This will be coming out on Monday, so about a week after the announcement. It still feels kind of, I know it's just a toy release, but it feels kind of surreal that we're finally getting something that fans have asked for so long. And yeah, I'm kind of tempted to run up this little guy again, because you can see that this is the version I had as a kid, because it's not as banged up as my version 2, but wonder who I had on here. I had Tara. But yeah, so it's not as quite as banged up as my version 2. It still has its keychain at least. But yeah, I'm so happy that we're finally getting this. It really does feel like Bandai is listening to us finally, and I've got a little pouch for the connection. But yeah, so it's great. We're finally getting something that fans have been asking for basically since the Tamagotchi Connection was stopped being sold, honestly, but more and more in recent years, especially because people are still buying the Tamagotchi re-releases, but every time we get a new shell of the Tamagotchi P1 and P2 re-release, a lot of people say, hey, where are the Tamagotchi Connections? Though this is a superior release, and I would typically agree. So yeah, super exciting news, super exciting that Bandai are listening to fans. The information can all be found on the Tamagotchi US website. We still have the same games. We still have Bump, which was my favorite as a kid because my Tamagotchis were always very overweight, which is the key to being good at Bump. I don't know why I like this game so much, but I did. I'm happy to see it back. It was always a surprise to me when I started to talk to people as I got older that I'm the only one who likes the game Bump. I don't know why. I remember being very good at it and enjoying it a lot. Maybe it was just my tiny child mind. But yeah, super exciting news. And thank you, Bandai, for giving the fans what we've been asking for ages. So yeah, big fan of that. So that's all I wanted to say about the matter. Obviously, I'm going to be covering the release of the Tamagotchi Connection when they're released in, I think it's July 9th at the top of my head. As as far as I can tell, it's the same worldwide. US and Australia both have the July 9th release day. I don't know, I'm getting tongue-tied over simple words. Sorry about that. And yeah, so obviously Australia being ahead in terms of time zones, Australia will have the July 9 before America. That's just how that works. But depends on shipping dates. Anyway, again, I'm not sponsored, but I'm getting mine from the Gamesmen. They have all the shells available, including the Best Friends double pack. If you want to get two, because they do have the connection functionality, I would recommend getting the double pack because I think it's $110 for two rather than $60 each. So if you want to get two, I'd recommend doing that. Of course, it's probably going to be cheaper to get a Japanese version from HobbyLink Japan because Australian prices are just like that. But again, I like supporting the local release. Lastly, from what I can see is that all of them are going to have two language settings, Japanese or English. That's my understanding anyway. So if you get a Japanese one, you can presumably set it to English and vice versa. But yeah, so that's it for this video. Like, comment, and subscribe, etc, etc. So like this video for Bandai listening to us, subscribe and tell your friends if you've already subscribed, and let me know anything that I didn't cover or I didn't really go over, and let me know in the comment section below, or just comment thanks Bandai, because thank you Bandai for giving us this. And yes, I think that's Bilochi, and Bilochi will be on the revamped connections. But yeah, so thanks for watching this video. I know I already said like, comment, subscribe, but please do. Views have not been super good lately, so please subscribe, tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell your enemies. Like this video, thank you Bandai, and subscribe, please. Even if you're just watching this and like, oh, who's this random Australian? Please subscribe. And yeah, I will see you in the next video. Bye. Oops, the battery died. That was a fresh battery. But yeah, so bye.